Peggy Sue was once crazy about the guy she married.
I have certain unresolved feelings about your father. I don't trust him.
But tonight, at her 25-year high school reunion...
Well, Charlie won't be here tonight. We're getting divorced, actually.
She'll disappear in time and arrive in her senior year of high school.
What am I doing here?
You passed out for a minute, that's all.
Oh, Mom. What is going on?
You're home now.
What do you think, Peggy Sue?
You bought an Edsel.
Now, she's got the chance to start over again.
I have a headache.
This time, she'll know better.
Did we break up? Because if we did, I don't even know about it.
What if you fall into the hands of some madman with plans to manipulate your brain?
Well, that's why I was getting a divorce. I'm a grown woman with a lifetime of experiences you can't understand.
Girls mature faster than guys.
Digital, watches, and miniature television sets.
Oh, and huge radios. I mean, for some reason, everything else gets tiny, but portable radios get enormous.
Peggy Sue and Mr. Square Root.
Charlie, let's make love.
What? You mean sex?
From Francis Coppola,
Well, at least I got to see you and Grandma again.
Kathleen Turner,
Has this ever worked before?
The last time was 600 years ago.
Peggy Sue Got Married.
I could be trapped here forever.
Change your destiny. Marry me.
Will you marry me?
I don't want to marry anyone, Richard.
Why not? Polygamy's legal in Utah.
Nicolas Cage,
I'm proposing to you now.
I may be crazy, but I'm not crazy enough to marry you twice.
Peggy Sue Got Married.
Peggy Sue got married
Welcome to Dorking Out. My name is Sonia Mansfield, and if I knew then what I know now, I'd do a lot of things differently. Joining me is my podcasting sister from another mister and the co-host of Dorking Out, Margot D. Hello, my friend.
Sonia, do you know what a penis is? Stay away from it.
I'm trying.
I'm really good at that now.
So good. So good. We are dorking out about 1986's Peggy Sue Got Married. It's directed by Francis Ford Coppola. I totally forgot this was directed by Francis Ford Coppola until we started the movie. It's written by a husband and wife team, Jerry Lechtling? Sure. And Arlene Sarner. And it stars Kathleen Turner, Nicolas Cage doing a thing. He's doing a thing in this. Barry Miller, Catherine Hicks, Joan Allen. We love it when Joan Allen shows up in things. Kevin J. O'Connor, Jim Carrey, young Jim Carrey. Who else in here? Very young Sophia Coppola and Helen Hunt.
It's and then Marshall Crenshaw is in there.
Yes, playing like a Buddy Holly cover band or something. It's this movie, boy. This was spoilers. This is a good one.
I can't wait to talk about it. And you and I were just talking off the air. Like, I am of two different ages. One was the time I saw it, which is a teenager,
yes.
and now not a teenager.
Yes.
And I've always enjoyed this movie, but this time watching it, it's on the Criterion Channel, by the way, if y'all want to check it out. I sobbed a few times.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Did you see it in the theater when it came out?
Yes, I did.
Me too.
And I went with my brother Joe, he'd never impressed with any movie ever. So I remember being really annoyed because I wanted to talk about it. And he just like, doesn't make sense. A burrito time? What? I know.
When you're talking about time travel movies, you have to let some shit slide. You have to.
You gotta let a lot of shit slide, y'all. It's time travel. It doesn't exist. Believe me, if it did, I would have taken advantage of it by now.
But I saw this in the theater too because, and I still am. I love Kathleen Turner. And I loved Kathleen Turner even when I was 15. You know, it wasn't like I was like, ooh, Body Heat, so good. But I was, which by the way, it is good. It's just 15-year-old Sonia didn't appreciate it. I was like, this is dirty. Ooh. But I loved Romancing the Stone so much.
I've seen
all
Yeah,
in.
same.
I was all in on Kathleen Turner. So that's why I went and saw this. And I loved it then. Obviously now, this movie hits totally different than it did to 15-year-old Sonia.
Yeah, a little 17-year-old Margot was like saw it differently,
Yes.
and I enjoyed it. But it's very, you get. Let's go through the plot and then we can talk about. Yeah.
So it's set in 1985 because that's the movie came out in 86. So it's filmed present day at the time. And Kathleen Turner plays Peggy Sue, and she is going to her 25th reunion, her class reunion. And by the way, adorable. She decides to wear her, like, I guess her prom dress to the
I guess it was.
to the thing, which is amazing that she would even still fit into it. And she looks beautiful.
Yes.
And she's going to a reunion. She has separated from her high school sweetheart that she had married, which is Nicolas Cage. And she goes to the reunion. This is just the we're going to go through the whole thing. But she faints at the reunion, wakes up, and it's 1960. And she's like her teenage self. They don't change Kathleen Turner. She looks the same to us. To everyone else, she looks like her teenage self, I guess.
Yeah, that's what I think too. Yeah, and we also meet the cast. Some of the aging makeup is good, and some of it's like baby powder on wigs. I think.
Yes, they're all wearing the same baby powder on wigs.
I will say this also. Barry Miller is fucking amazing in this movie. And it's something I'm catching now, but continue.
Yes, he is so good. So she wakes up in 1960, but she knows now, which she didn't know then, obviously. And this is like my favorite thing about the movie is that how we just go along with it. When we see a movie like this, I hate when we spend too much time trying to explain things, or we spend a lot of time with, say, Peggy Sue trying to explain to other people that she has traveled through time, and then we're waiting for other people in the movie to catch up to what we already know. I hate that shit. And I like that is not something that happens in here. I love that her character is, I love. Here we go.
Right.
I love how smart, I love how smart she is about, like, she just kind of accepts it. But she knows what she knows. And the lines that she just throws out there randomly, I guess I'll go to school today. It'll be fun to see everybody again. Just stuff like that. And her parents are like, okay, like, sure. That's a little strange, but not that strange. Kathleen Turner is so good in this movie.
And it was big competition for Best Actress.
Yes.
But just like in Romancing the Stone, she is doing everything an actress has to do in a part.
Yes.
Everything.
Yes.
And nails it. I mean, she's 31 or 32 when she does this movie.
Yes.
She's playing in her 40s, and then she has to have like the energy of a teenager.
Yes.
And 32 is not old, by the way.
No.
But still, I mean, it's a range that she's doing, and she just really convinces you. There's like times you get like she's enjoying being her teenage self again sometimes, and that's fun to watch. It's a woman-centered movie, by the way, with Francis Ford Coppola, which does not happen often.
No, it does not happen. I read that originally Penny Marshall was supposed to direct this, and I was like, that makes perfect sense to me. Like,
because of Big, yeah.
Yes, this is the kind of movie that Penny Marshall would do. And I guess before that it was Jonathan Demme, and I was like, that's a very different movie.
Would be a lot of close-ups and just actors looking into the camera and talking.
But
it'd be very unnerving.
Kathleen Turner is so good in this. The physicality of and the energy of playing all these different age ranges, and just, I don't know, her face, how she just lights up. And the way she like throws her body around like a teenager, just like, like the way she throws herself on her bed when she's like, all this stuff. She's just so good. I love her so much. Shall we just go through it? Actually, first I have to ask you a question. Have you ever been to your high school reunion?
I only went to one. No, sorry, I did go to two, but the second one was such a bummer. I never went back.
Oh, why was it such a bummer? Just because you're like, I don't want to see everyone get old.
I moved a lot when I was a kid. I moved on my 16th birthday from Pennsylvania to New Jersey, and then went to high school in New Jersey. And then 2 days after my family moved to California the week I graduated high school. So we were out all night partying, and then I came home literally to an empty house of boxes. And then I know. And then I was in California, and it was pre-internet days, so I didn't really keep in touch with people.
Yeah.
So a lot of people, like, it's one of those things where you grow up in a town and you went to the elementary school and middle school and high school as everybody else. There's this long connection.
Yeah.
And for me, it was like, I was here less than 2 years. I don't give a shit about any of you people. No offense.
Reunions are weird.
They're very weird. And some people, I was surprised. Like, some people turn out amazing. Like, they actually mature. But some people are just, it's just kind of a bummer. You see, like, you're used to see this. You're used to like 18-year-old faces and voices, and they come in front of you, and then it's, oh my God, they look so different sometimes. And it's, I remember one guy, Lance, lost all his hair, and everyone freaked the fuck out because he had like a big bushy head of hair.
Oh my gosh.
And he was only 28, the poor guy.
Yeah, I went to.
We like our baldies, by the way.
Yes, of course. Yeah, no offense to that.
No.
I think I've been to two of mine as well, and both times, especially the most recent one, I think would have been my 30th high school reunion. Let's say that. It's weird to see everybody looking older.
Yes.
Like, and I'm like, and then I'm just like, do I look that old? Yeah,
and some people are just really into high school too. So I didn't go to the 25 year, but I had a friend that flew from Dublin to here, and we met up in Brooklyn for dinner, and then they went, and then they're like, why aren't you going? I'm like, I just don't do it. And then I saw them a couple of days later, and they said it was weird that people went up to a hotel suite, and you think they're up there to party, and it's going to be naughty when I open the door and walk in. Is it going to be crazy? No, they're sitting around watching themselves graduate because somebody brought a VHS tape of our graduate. And I'm like, you want to fucking watch that?
That's weird.
That's weird, right?
I don't know. I mean, I guess. I don't know. It is a trippy thing. And there is this idea of, well, if I wanted to keep in touch, I would have.
Yeah.
So that's
what Facebook is for.
Yeah, I'm like, so there's like that kind of weird dynamic. And then there's the like people who weren't nice to you in high school, but they're going to be nice to you now. And I kind of don't know how to deal with those people because, God, it was forever ago. I'm like, people grow up and people change, but I'm like, thanks for the trauma, asshole. Because of you, I'm fucking hilarious. Like, so yes, I have been to a few. None of them as dramatic as Peggy Sue's. Nobody. No. Also, no king and queens at my reunion. I don't know if that's a thing that people do, but they seem to do them in the movies. Like
in my senior year. It was a brother and sister. They were twins, and they won everything.
That's
every year. It was so fucking weird.
Isn't that weird?
Oh, and everybody there's crying, like, because that's just the way that's been that way forever. Like because they're all blonde and tall and good looking and rich and whatever and nice. But I just like, no, I'm not. This is not my thing. Yeah, I need to live in the city. I remember just thinking, like, I got to get out of here. Suburbs, not for me.
Yeah, I see people on Facebook. That's good enough for me.
Yeah.
Okay, so she goes to her reunion. It is revealed that she has married her high school sweetheart, that is Charlie, played by Nicolas Cage, but he had cheated on her. So they are separated. They're filing for divorce. I don't know if they've actually filed, whatever. We meet everyone at their older selves. So we meet like her two closest friends. One of them is actually married to her high school sweetheart and seem like they're still happy. The other one's the young Jim Carrey. Yes, she's a free spirit. She's still single. She's doing her thing.
She looks amazing.
She looks amazing. And then we also have like Jim Carrey. Catherine Hicks. Sorry, Catherine.
Catherine Hicks is Daisy Duke. Sorry.
Yeah, this is No, it's Catherine Hicks. You got it right.
Is it?
Yes, I looked it up.
Okay. I'm sorry, Daisy Duke, whoever you are.
Catherine Bach.
There we go. Sorry, that was going to drive me nuts.
We were going to get there. We were going to get there. And then we have also younger Jim Carrey, but playing older. Funny. He's very funny in this movie. I like it when Jim Carrey's a little dialed in. Like,
yes.
Exactly. I mean, there's Dumb and Dumber Jim and Carrey, and then there's Jim Carrey and something like this. He's a little bit more dialed in. So anyway, we meet everyone now, kind of understand where they're at. We get Barry Diller as Richard, and he was like
Barry Miller.
What did I call him?
Barry Diller. Someone else.
Sorry, Barry Miller. I apologize, everybody. Barry Miller. He was like the class genius, the valedictorian, the nerd, and he's very successful inventor. He's rich, I think.
Billionaire, and this is like 1980s billionaire.
Yes.
That's like some serious coin.
And he is made the king, and Peggy Sue is crowned the queen, and she's very emotional for obvious reasons. Like, this is part of the movie I can really relate to. There is,
yes, gonna say,
and I just say there's so much to dig into here. So here we go. This movie feels very true about when you separate from someone that you've been with for a long time. Your identities are so tied together, and then you go to these events, reunions, weddings, birthday parties, whatever, and people are like, where's your person? And you're like, I'm not with that person anymore. And then you have to like unpack your trauma for like every single person who asks.
Exactly.
And that is what she's going through. I'm like, this movie hits way different for me now as an adult who has gone through a divorce because of, let's say, similar circumstances. I can relate. And so I understand how she gets to the point she gets in her head. It's very emotional for her to be standing up there on that stage, dressed like she was when, she was in love with this man, and she faints. And then she wakes up, and it's 1960. She's just donated blood. Mm-hmm. And she's so funny when she wakes up. Like, she's just the way she comments on everyone's hair and the way they look, and like everyone's like, well, that's what happens when you get blood. You talk like a weirdo, and they send her home, and her mom is there and her dad, and I love that she's like, I had a tough day, and she just starts drinking. She just like pours herself a drink. Like, I had a tough day, like a 42-year-old woman would. But
right.
But she's 17. She's her 17-year-old self. She shouldn't be drinking. It's her delivery of "I had a tough day." It made me laugh. And we meet her younger sister, which is Sofia Coppola. Is this like probably one of her first movies, right?
She was in something before this. I know she was in like Godfather 2. She's the baby.
Okay.
But I think there's something else in her father's movie that she did before this.
Yeah.
Not the best actress.
No, she's a great director. She's
a great director. Yes. I love her movies.
Yes.
By the way, it's not a knock on her, but it's one of the things like she just doesn't look like anybody in that family, but that could be for a million reasons. For other reasons. She
really doesn't look like anyone else in the movie, but that's fine. If we're going to accept time travel, then we can accept that Sofia Coppola is her sister, even though she doesn't look like anybody in the family. And we also meet, we get back to like Jim Carrey, Joan Allen, Catherine Hicks, looking like their normal selves, not with the powdered hair.
Yeah, so they play themselves when they're middle-aged, and then they play themselves when they're younger.
Yes.
And most of the actors are under 30.
Yes.
So they're doing different things. I would say I'm going to talk once again. Barry Miller, the first time I saw this movie, I thought that was a different person.
Yes.
I thought that was a completely different actor. And I was like, oh my God, that's the guy from the Fame movie. It actually shocked me, but like everyone else, it's powdered wigs and a little hunched over a bit. There's also a woman in a wheelchair that they kind of focus on, but they never take her story
Yeah, apparently
anywhere.
there's a few things that were cut out. The woman in the wheelchair is supposedly a gymnast who goes to the Olympics and hurts herself. And at some point, Peggy was going to try to prevent her from getting in her accident. There was some things about, what was the other?
Money.
Yeah, stuff with the parents and money and the dad's hat store. Because I guess after Kennedy is elected and he doesn't wear hats, the hat store tanks. There's all these little side stories that they cut, and it was a good idea because it doesn't need to be Back to the Future.
Right. Yeah. Back to the Future already existed and it already did its job. I mean, I think this movie more is an emotional thing.
Yes.
And it just realized like she could just be adopted. I mean, that's not, but I'm just saying that Sofia Coppola is just stiff as an actress. Like they could have had any other kid actress to do that part, but it's okay. It's fine.
Yeah. There's also the whole thing with like her dad, Peggy Sue's dad comes home and he had like just bought a new car and the whole like, oh, Dad, you were always doing stuff like that. Like just the, way she taught you bought an Edsel. Like,
I like it when she meets her, she sees her sister and she hugs her. And she's like, too many unresolved relationships in my life. And she's looking at her like, what?
Yeah, she's like, whatever. Like,
and then the rest of the movie, she kicks her out of the room all the time. Like, okay, well.
She immediately slips back into some old habits for sure, And then there's the next day, they're having breakfast together and she's elated to like have her family all together at the table and they're eating breakfast. And she's like, I'm still here, so I might as well enjoy myself. Says it out loud. Everyone's
she thinks she might be dead. That's why.
And she goes to school and she's hanging around with her friends and Nicolas Cage is her boyfriend. And again, he's doing his Nicolas Cage thing. He's got this voice.
Well, you have to say also, like, he was in Valley Girl before this. He's in Rumblefish. Like, he wasn't a big star.
Yes. This is pre-Moonstruck, pre-Raising Arizona.
Correct.
Yes.
So he's like, he's kind of this interesting, quirky character actor, but he did this Gumby voice, he said.
So weird.
And he just thought that'd be very teen. And he's only like 21 or 22 also. He's pretty young. So he's doing that. And he tells her, like, she realizes, he told her like a week before, they're going to graduate in like 6 or 7 weeks. He tells her a week before, I think we should see other people because he wants to get laid, I guess.
Yeah.
And he doesn't want to do that with her. And so she cried. And so this time he's like, I think, she's like, no, I think we should break up. Great. She
why wait?
Away.
Bye. But his like weirdo Gumby voice is just, I know
most people hate it. I'm to the point now where it doesn't bother me as much.
It totally does. But
it sticks out.
Yeah. When I first saw the movie, I was like, what the fuck is he doing?
He's also, by the way, a cousin of Francis Ford Coppola, so that's one of the reasons why he's,
But now
he
I
likes
like
to keep things in the family. I do too. It's just a part of the tapestry of the movie now.
Yes. Yeah. Then he grows up and his voice isn't like that anymore. It's fine.
No,
it's fine. Teenage boys are weirdos. It's fine.
Yeah, they're affected weirdos. I mean, all teenagers are weirdos, really.
So she does tell one person that she is a time traveler. She tells Richard, the genius, that she is time traveling, and he's pretty quick to believe her. Again, I like that because I don't want to waste time on that shit. And they talk about they're going to maybe make an invention together. And I love all the things where she talks about how TVs get really small, but radios just get bigger and bigger. Or I think she settles on pantyhose.
Pantyhose. Yes.
Which wasn't a thing in 1960. And
she says, like, he gets all excited when she's telling him about things. Yes. And she's like, yeah, you were meant to because you're super smart. And he was going to create something that could help blind people read.
Yes.
And I don't know what that is, but that's one of his big inventions. But so she breaks up with Charlie and he's devastated because he really didn't expect her to do that. And so she wants to hang out with her girls, Joan Allen and Catherine Hicks, but they are all boy crazy for their fellas.
Yeah. And Peggy Sue, she breaks up with Charlie like 5 times in this movie. Like,
Right.
she loves him and he loves her. They really can't help themselves. Like, she continues to break up with him, but she keeps gravitating back to him because she really can't help herself, which is not something, again, I picked up on the teenage Sonia was like, what is she doing? And now as an adult, I was like, she can't help herself. Like,
They have chemistry.
they have chemistry.
And when he's nice and he's giving her attention, he's amazing. Like,
Yeah.
he's super. He's not afraid to be dorky about it and
Yes.
tell her how he feels, which is nice.
Yeah, and he hasn't done the horrible things
Right.
yet. So there's a reason why she fell in love with him in the first place, because he is very sweet, because he is very gentle with her, and you know, he is a goofball and all of those things that she loves, and he hasn't done the hurtful things that adults tend to do after.
And he wouldn't dream of it. Like,
Yes.
that's just completely anti-ethical to him. He's
Yeah.
like, no, but he also wants to be a singer. And so we know in the audience, we're told, well, she tells Richard she gets pregnant at 18. Like, she turns 18 during the movie. And so she gets pregnant on her 18th birthday. So they have to get married. This is 1960. Like,
Yes.
that's just how a lot of people got married right out of high school.
My parents got married at 19. They were high school sweethearts. Yeah.
So were mine. Yeah, that's the way it was in the 60s. But so she realized, like, he immediately had to grow up and go into his dad's business, and he hates that he's selling VCRs for $200. Remember that? But he has those crazy Charlie commercials,
Yes.
and he's just But this is the young version of him. Like, he was going to be a singing star. He was at least going to try.
Yes.
But because she becomes pregnant, they have to get married. So he just throws that aside. So she goes to a party, and all the couples are there.
Yes.
And that's when Nicolas Cage. I love that scene where they're singing that.
Yeah,
song.
it's so fun. It's just fun, and like the girls' reactions to them singing and how they're just screaming, and like, again, it's like the old like Frank Sinatra singing, and the girls are like, ah, Frankie. Like,
or the chicken, and the
chicken,
Bing Crosby
and
the Frank Sinatra chickens.
the chicken lays 1,000 eggs.
Oh, I gotta look for that now. I gotta
Oh my
watch
God.
that. I want to watch that so
my
bad right now.
my sister and I still talk about that chicken thing all the like whenever it's like, oh, Frankie, then the chicken lays 1,000 eggs.
Or all the feathers just fly off, or they just wiggle to the ground.
I'm gonna look this up after we're done recording.
I know. Now I gotta watch it. Yeah.
But that scene is so fun.
But he is, by the way, Nicolas Cage is cute.
He's so
beautiful
cute.
eyes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nicolas Cage is very handsome. We did a whole episode on Valley Girl, and I was like, yeah, I would. Yeah.
He could have this. Yeah.
He could have all of this. I mean, the truth is he could probably still have all of this now. Call me, Nick Cage, if you're interested.
Yeah. I think he's married again.
Oh, well, I don't want to get involved in that, so never mind. Another one of my favorite things. So they go to the party, and then he's driving her home, and they're making out in the car. And now we're dealing with like 42-year-old Peggy Sue, who's got a ton of sexual experience, and 17-year-old Nick Cage, who does not. And they're making out, and the things she says to him, like, doesn't Lucky Chucky want to go? And then his delivery of, you mean my wang? And then, you know, and there's this great line where he's just like, last week you said if I loved you, I wouldn't. And this week you're saying if I loved you, I will. That's a guy's line. Is so funny to me.
It is. And also, I'm sorry, it also goes back to mid-'80s. There was this real fondness for the 50s.
Yes.
And maybe because like AIDS started becoming a thing, you know, more and more people were getting it, contracting AIDS. So there's all this safe sex. And what about going back to a simpler time when people just gave hand jobs and not cold showers?
Sorry, I wasn't expecting that. Yeah. I would like to see someone running for president now. Can we go back to a simpler time when we just gave hand jobs and took cold showers? I love it.
You can't get pregnant that way.
Look, it's easy. No. So he feels emasculated by how aggressive she comes on.
Woman.
He's such a baby. And he, like just drives off, leaves her there. But again, we're talking about a 42-year-old woman in a 17-year-old girl's body. So she goes out.
She's up. She might as well anyway.
Yeah, she's like, I'm going to go out. I'm going to get some. Trust me, the things...
I'm all horned up now.
Dude, the things... If I had my 17-year-old body now, good God help the men in San Francisco if that was me. Anyway.
I'd be in the city up all night, just going crazy.
I'd be up all night to get lucky.
She's up all night for the fun. She's up all night to get some.
Nope. Now I'm up till like 10:15 to get lucky.
Yeah,
that's
around
it.
10:30. If I didn't brush my teeth, it's a messy morning. Yeah.
No. I'm up till like 10 p.m. and then I take Benadryl. So anyway.
Exciting.
She goes to like a local cafe or diner or whatever, and that's where she sees Michael Fitzsimmons, and that is, I'm going to look up his name, Kevin J. O'Connor, and he plays like he's the spoken word poetry guy.
I'm sorry, is he also Batman or is he the Joker?
Oh, was he?
I think he's one of the animated.
Oh, he does the voice for. It must be, or
it could be another
maybe
Kevin.
The Riddler.
There's the Kevin that died.
Oh, I don't know. We'll have to look it up.
Yeah.
I could start clicking on that. But so she goes and she had said earlier in the movie, like, oh, I wish I had hit that, basically, back in the day. And so she's like, this is my chance. She goes and she talks to him about books. And no, this one's still alive.
Yeah, there was a Kevin that...
Oh, he was in The Mummy.
Oh, okay.
And then,
that's right. That's where I remember him from. Okay.
So they have a whole argument about like Ernest Hemingway, and he's like, I thought girls like you traveled in a pack. And she's like, I'm a hip chick, and she smokes. And then they go for a ride on his motorcycle. And
they're in Petaluma, Santa Rosa. Oh, it's beautiful.
Yeah.
It's such a gorgeous part of the state.
Yeah. And they have
they do it.
They knock the boots. They Lucky Chucky comes out to play.
More than a handy.
More than a handy. She got out his wang. They ride the motorcycle and then they ride each other. And they hook up.
And I support all those decisions.
Yes, by the way, enjoy yourself, girl. Knock yourself out. So, but what's fun is, again, the next day, I think at some point she reconnects. She hangs out with Michael again. And like, he's like, well, after graduation, we're going to go to Utah and like live on a farm and you can raise chickens. And she's like, oh, I can't. I'm allergic to chickens.
No, but and also I love the way she talks to him because if she were really 17, she would fall for all that bullshit he's saying. She's a grown woman, so she's like, all right, take it down a notch.
Yeah. She's like,
says, if you write something beautiful one day.
Yeah, which is great advice, by the way.
Right.
So their little connection is short-lived, but while she's at this like bar or club or whatever, she sees Charlie, Nicolas Cage, singing on stage with a R&B band. Mm-hmm. And she's like, I thought I knew everything about him, and here he is like singing without his buddies. And it turned out he was auditioning for a record label that turns him down. So she always thought that like he gave up his music because of her, because she got pregnant, when really he had already been rejected before any of that happened.
And he can't take that rejection just stops him cold.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He seems very broken after that. That's when he's like, I'm going to work at my dad's appliance store. I'm going to support you, all these things. And it had nothing to do with the fact that he's saying and doing all the things before she even gets pregnant. Like, these things were going to happen no matter what. So, I don't know. That's just another thing I didn't pick up on when I was 15 or 16 when I saw this movie. Let's see. I love that she writes a song for him, and it's a Beatles.
She loves you. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Charlie.
But again, she can't help herself. She's drawn to, she keeps going back to him over and over because she really does love him. She can't help herself. And
she wants to help him.
She wants to help him. But yes, even when she hands him a song that's going to make him huge, he changes the words. And, well, it doesn't work out for him. So but she does want to change her destiny. She has this idea that, she's not going to see him on her 18th birthday. Therefore, she's not going to get pregnant and they're not going to get married. So she goes to visit her grandparents. And actually, we forgot to mention there's a very sweet scene earlier in the movie.
The scene devastates me.
I know. Oh, she answers the phone and it's her grandmother.
And her voice is, hello. It's like Turner has the lowest voice by point. Nothing teenagery about that voice.
No. Hello, Grandma. Her grandmother calls and she answers the phone, and obviously, like, in the future, the present, I should say, her grandmother has passed away. So she now gets to spend time with people that she loves that passed away, and she gets to tell them that she loves them and things like that. So that scene is very, very sweet, and like she plays it off as, I had a dream that grandma died. It is like a little punch in the heart, that scene. She decides to spend her 18th birthday with her grandparents, and again, she tells her grandparents everything, and they're like, that sounds right.
Yeah. Sure.
Yeah, that's going to happen. And there is a whole thing where, like, the grandfather takes her to his lodge and his, like, those an elk lodge, or what do they call those things? Like Rotary clubs?
There's clubs, Rotary, there's veterans halls. There's, like, all kinds of Columbus something, or Gowanus Club, or there's all kinds of stuff, yeah.
And they're all going to perform this ritual that's going to send her back to the future. And, but while they're doing it, Charlie shows up and, like, takes her away and, professes his love again. And again, this scene is so sad because she is hurt and angry about things that he hasn't done yet. And he really, really loves her. And he's, like, apologizing for, like, things he hasn't even done yet. And
he's like, who's Janet?
Yes. Like, it's so sad. And then at the, ultimately she can't change her fate. Like, she can't.
No. And it's interesting is, like, she has a locket and it's a picture of her son and her daughter, Beth and Scott. And in the movie, at that point, he gives her the locket as her gift for her 18th birthday, and she opens it up, and she says, "It's our kids." He goes, "No, it's me and you." And then she says, "Oh, my parents knew." I don't know. Maybe they knew they were supposed to be together, or I don't know. But that's when she realizes it doesn't matter. Like, I'm trying to change something, and it was going to happen.
Yes.
No matter, you know what I mean? So instead of marrying Richard, who, by the way, proposes to her, she's like, I'm not getting married. Like,
she's like, I'm not doing that again.
Right.
I shared a clip on TikTok where she's walking with Richard and he's like, we have to be very careful. What if some madman tries to, like, warp your mind? And she's like, that's why I'm getting divorced. But she can't help it. Like, what's going to happen is what's going to happen. And
she misses her kids.
And she misses her kids,
Right.
And again, this is something I think about too, where it's like, well, if I knew then what I know now, like, would I change anything? And the truth is, I'm like, I would be afraid to change anything, because what if it meant my kid is
Calvin?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. I'm like, I have to. What was going to happen needed to happen to get my kid, basically. But so they end up hooking up, and that's what brings her back to the present. And he's there waiting for her, and it is very kind of 80s about like preserving that family unit at all costs.
Yes, where he conservative stuff. Yeah,
where he apologizes, and she invites him over for dinner, and it's sweet, and I don't know, it feels true to the movie. But I also, like, part of me was like, oh, this is super 80s. Like,
I kind of was like, I wish she would have said something like, we had our time together. It was great, but it's time that we move forward.
Yeah.
That kind of moment.
But that's just, I would be surprised if that could happen in an 80s
movie.
Yeah.
No way.
No.
The woman is going to take on the emotional labor again.
Yes.
To make sure everybody else is okay. But it's, you also, like, you find out that Richard does write a book.
Yes.
And then it says to Peggy Sue in A Starry Night, like, did he just publish it while she was out? I mean, just
well, so it means
so they were together.
So the things that happened in the past in this movie actually really happened. And I feel like there was just a missing scene here where I would have liked for her to talk to Richard. Because, it's Michael who writes the book, and he dedicates it to her. And that means that they actually really did hook up. She did at some point, like, hop on the motorcycle and go for a ride, if you will. But that also means, yes, and otherwise. But it also means that she had told Richard the truth, that her and Richard had those conversations about what the future was going to look like, that he proposed to her, that she was like, I already did the whole married thing, I'm not getting married. I would have liked one more conversation there, maybe.
Yeah. Or Richard leave her a lot of money because she really helped him.
Yes.
Yeah.
So I'm just wondering what other things were different, but it's not that kind of movie. This is more emotional.
It's emotional, and we don't know if she really did or didn't. That's kind of like part of it, is like, did she just dream it all?
Yeah.
I think she really did.
I think so
what's
too.
The point otherwise? I think that's ultimately, this is a mid 80s movie. It's going to preserve the family unit.
Yes.
The age makeup's not going to be great. Nicolas Cage does not look like he's in his 40s. Certainly not what he looks like in his 40s. But, and he's like younger than Helen Hunt, who plays his daughter. It's very wild.
Yeah, it's very strange stuff. Like, he's younger than her. She's younger than Kathleen Turner. Like, yeah. But, but Kathleen,
you got to go along with it.
Exactly. And Kathleen Turner's, like, performance is, it's
the whole movie.
It's the whole movie. She's so fucking good.
She's so good. I mean, when do you ever have like a woman in every single scene in a movie?
Yeah.
And center around her, especially like she's playing a 40-year-old woman, but I mean, she's in her teenage years, but still it's a 40-year-old, like, no nonsense woman.
Yeah.
In this teenage, atmosphere. It's wonderful. It gave me the feels. It made me think about a lot of things.
The jokes are really fun. They market this. I feel like they marketed this movie as a comedy. I don't think it's a comedy. But there are jokes in the movie, and the jokes were really funny to me. Like, she's so good in this. Apparently they originally wanted Deborah Winger. I can't see Deborah Winger pulling this off, to be honest.
She could do it. I mean, but I think I don't know. There's something about Kathleen Turner.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She's so good. And I also read that Dennis Quaid was originally going to play Nicolas Cage's part, and I was like, that makes sense to me too.
I would have loved that. I love me some Dennis Quaid.
Oh my God, Dennis. So he turned this down to do The Big Easy, which is a movie I've brought up on this podcast before, because he's
he's smoking hot in there.
So fucking sexy in the Big Easy.
Yeah, and it's also with his co-star
Ellen Barkin.
Ellen Barkin. Yeah, it's a great role for her.
Yeah. Dennis Quaid in the Nicolas Cage part, the whole movie, I would have been like, you're not going to say no to that. Come on.
Yeah, exactly.
It's too much. Like, Nicolas Cage makes sense to me. Like, Dennis Quaid, I would have been all, girl, come on. We know.
Right.
So this was a really great rewatch for me. It's so good.
It had a lot of heart to it. It does make you think about your parents. It makes you think about what your home was like and what you thought about the world when you were that age. And if you could go back in time, like, how would you see things?
Yeah.
I don't know.
I loved it.
I loved it. I really felt something completely different this time. And you always say the movies don't change. You do.
Right.
Yeah.
This is one of my favorite rewatches we've done in a while. I mean, I like a lot of the movies we rewatch, but this one was, I haven't seen this movie in so long, and this one really clicked for me in a way that it just never has before. It's really, really good. If you have the Criterion channel, it's on there right now. You should go watch it.
And can I ask something?
Yeah.
I'm trying to find Barry Miller. I'm writing a book right now, and he's a part of a movie that I'm writing about. So if anybody knows where he is, because apparently he disappeared like 20, 25 years ago after Ally McBeal or something. I can't find him. So if anybody knows where he is,
interesting.
Reach out to us.
Was he on ER? Am I mixing him up with someone else?
I
don't know. But if anyone knows anything, please,
reach out to us.
Slide into the DMs.
Yep.
So this movie was on Siskel and Ebert's top 10 movies of the year. Mm-hmm. We've done 86 before, y'all. So I thought maybe you would like to hear some of the other movies that were on Siskel and Ebert's list.
Oh, yes, please.
Okay. Shall we start with Siskel or Ebert?
You pick.
Okay, let's start with Siskel. So number 10 for Siskel was The Fly.
That's a good movie.
It's a good movie. Number 9 was Round Midnight.
Don't remember that.
I know what it is, but I haven't seen it in a long time. Number 8, Children of a Lesser God.
Yeah.
Bummer.
It's not a good time.
Speaking of
William
bummer.
Hurt was horrible, too.
Yeah.
Marley Matlin.
Yeah, that's a hard one to rewatch, so we won't be doing that one. Speaking of hard to rewatch, number 7 is Platoon.
Oh, that's a romp.
Do you remember in The Naked Gun where they're walking out of the theater and they're laughing so hard and it pans up and it's Platoon?
That is a funny side gag.
If I could have my memory erased, I would do it just so I could watch The Naked Gun again for the first time. So good. Okay, number 6 is Blue Velvet.
I don't like that movie as much as other people do.
I am actually thinking about rewatching a bunch of David Lynch. So I will rewatch and report back. Number 5 on his list was Peggy Sue Got Married. It's pretty high up on there. Number 4, Mona Lisa.
Yeah, fine.
Number 3, A Room with a View.
Yeah, that's actually a good movie.
Do you remember? There were so many of these, like
Merchant Ivory.
Yes,
I think that's the one with Julian Sands.
Yes.
Yeah. Oh, he was so beautiful in that.
Yes, he was. R.I.P.
R.I.P. Man.
These Room with a View movies were the ones that always won lots of Oscars. By the way, that was a whole thing.
Merchant and Ivory got so much money to do movies, and everybody was like, "Well, it's got to be good. It's Merchant and Ivory." So they went, and they were beautiful.
Yeah. Number 2 is a movie called Vagabond that I don't know anything about.
I have no idea.
I'm like, I guess I could Google it. Vagabond movie. Let's see what happens. It's a foreign movie. That's why. I just immediately, I'm like, whatever.
86, I would have been like, nope.
Yeah. And then his number 1 movie was Hannah and Her Sisters.
I like Hannah and Her Sisters, even though it's a total creep that directs it.
Totally. Exactly. Diane,
I do like that movie.
Movies with Diane Wiest.
Diane Wiest is fucking hilarious in that movie. She's always
great. Okay.
She's the messed up sister.
80. Here we go. Ebert's movies. Number 10, something called Hard Choices.
No, thank you. I don't even know what it is. Sorry.
I don't either. Number 9 was Peggy Sue Got Married.
Mm-hmm.
Number 8, Down and Out in Beverly Hills.
Great movie.
I love the Ebert. He has some good ones on here. He has Trouble in Mind is number 7.
I don't know.
I don't know that one. Number 6 is Vagabond. Number 5 is Lucas.
Lucas is a great movie.
Lucas
made me cry when I was a kid. It was on all the time.
All
on
the
HBO.
time, yes. Number 4, Sid and Nancy. Movie's fucked up.
I don't like that movie. I find it.
Up.
Yeah.
Number 3, Hannah and Her Sisters.
Mm-hmm.
Number 2, Round Midnight, and number 1 was Platoon.
Once again, it was a good chuckle.
It's hilarious.
Do you want to hear the top 10 songs the week this came out?
Yeah, I do.
So it comes out October 10th, 1986. That was my mother's birthday.
Oh, Libra.
Yeah, she's a Libra. Like Libra season, right?
It is Libra season.
Isn't that from Grey Gardens? I need a Libra man. Anyway, number 10. Some of these songs. Daryl Hall. It was solo.
Oh.
Dreamtime.
Oh my God, I don't even remember that one.
We're living on dream.
Yes.
That's all I remember.
Thank you. Okay, I got it.
Number 9, Cyndi Lauper, True Colors. Beautiful song.
Love Cyndi Lauper.
Gloria Loring and Carl Anderson, Friends and Lovers.
I remember that song. Mushy. So mushy.
Speaking of mushy, number 7, Don Johnson, Heartbeat.
Heartbeat.
Oh,
I loved that song because it had a ridiculous video. I was into it. Anyway, go ahead.
He was so cheesy. Number 6, speaking of, Huey Lewis and the News, Stuck With You.
I don't really like that song, but I loved
Boring.
Huey Lewis in the News.
Huey could have this. He's
Mm-hmm.
just saying. Number 5, I don't know this song. You might know it. Tina Turner, Typical Male. Do you know that song?
No, but sounds like something I would like.
Number 4, Genesis, Throwing It All Away. This is when everything sounded the same in Genesis. Like every song.
It's all Invisible Touch.
It's just Phil Collins.
Yes.
Yeah. I love this song, man. Number 3, Stacy Q, Two of Hearts.
Oh, I just heard this song the other day. I love this song.
I need you. Number 2, you could not get away from this fucking song. Glass Tiger, Don't Forget Me When I'm Gone.
My God. No, you could not get away from that song.
And the number 1 song, Miss Janet, If You're Nasty. Janet Jackson, When I Think of You.
I loved Control. The whole album, Control, was my jam.
Control was great. Rhythm Nation.
Yep.
I fucking loved Rhythm Nation. I mean, just all about Janet.
Yeah.
Miss Jackson, If You're Nasty.
That's right. I am nasty, so Miss Jackson. What else are you dorking out about, my friend?
Not too much. I didn't want to bring too much of a list. I want to say I finally did see Barbie.
And?
Loved it.
I know.
Loved it.
So good.
Loved it. It's clever. It's funny. It has heart.
Yes.
It's smart. It has amazing performances. I cried a few times.
Yes, it's so good.
It's so good. I bought it. I went out to
Nice.
lunch with a friend on the 14th of September, and she's like, they're going to sell the movie tomorrow, and they're going to charge $30. She's thinking that's a lot of money, and I'm just like, take my money now. I'll just buy it. I know it's going to be good. And it is good, so I own it now. Also, Apple, The Morning Show is back.
Oh, you love that show.
I do. It's terrible, and I love it. It's stupid. It's stupid AF, but I think it's very watchable. And then there's a documentary on there called Supermodels, and it's about
is it out?
It's out.
Oh,
Naomi
shit.
Campbell, Chrissy Turlington, Cindy Crawford, and Linda Evangelista, who was my favorite.
Yes.
And it's kind of a gut punch. Like,
okay,
what
I'm watching it
women,
tonight.
the way women were treated, like how venerated they were, and then how attacked they were for just having like to think that they could, monetize themselves and be in charge of that. And Linda Evangelista will break your fucking heart you will especially feel this.
Yeah, for some reason I had it in my head. It didn't come out till October. So I know what I'm watching
it's there
tonight.
right now.
Nice.
I'm sorry. I'm having allergy issues. I'm going to cough. Okay. And then Real Housewives Salt Lake City.
Yes.
Banging. It's banging. It's
I was in Ireland for 2 weeks, so I couldn't watch. I tried to watch in my hotel room on my iPad, and they're like, "You're out of the country," and I was like, "Fuck you! I pay for this shit." I was so annoyed, but you were so kind to send me a
clip,
a clip, and I was like, I can't wait. And the minute I got home, all I did was watch all my reality shows that I had been missing, including Real Housewives of Salt Lake City. And I'm like, it's so fucking good. It's so good. They deliver every time, every season.
They really do. The casting is amazing. Amazing. I mean, they're lunatics. These people are bananas. We have Trixie Mattel.
I'm like, could she join the cast as a housewife? Because I'm into it.
I'm into it, but they had I love their dinners from hell. Like every show has one, especially a dinner where people just go nuts. And this one, the drunkenness that happens between two people slurring their words and arguing. Mary is wackadoo.
They have brought
every once in a while she says something smart or at least observant, and you're like, oh, so she is paying attention.
So they bring Mary Cosby back as a friend of, which I was like, this is a genius move, because Mary in small doses is chef's kiss. She just says rando shit. And my favorite thing is she is calling the Trixie Motel in Palm Springs to find out if they have Dom Perignon, like you do
at a motel.
First she calls and she says, "Is this the Trixie Hotel?" And they said motel, and her face is like, "Brr!" And then
she has no makeup on.
Yeah.
But she has these beautiful big eyes that are very expressive, and she's just
and she's asking about Dom Perignon, blah blah blah. So there's all of that. There's also she's talking to Meredith, and she says, my son has a girlfriend. Some people are saying that's his wife, but I don't know about that. And the producer's like, why don't you ask him? He lives here. And she's like, I haven't had a chance. She's so fucking bananas. He lives here. He lives in the same house. And she's like, I haven't had a chance. I'm too busy calling the Trixie Motel to ask about Dom Perignon. I don't have time to ask my son if he's married.
They get into a fight, and Heather gets wasted on espresso martinis. She has 4 or 5 of them, and she doesn't eat very much. And then Mary is yelling at she's not yelling at Heather. She's yelling at
Whitney.
And they're giving this argument, and Mary yells, "You called me a pornography." And she just looks and goes, "What? You called me a pornography?" And she goes, "What are you even talking about?" And then she turns to Mary, and Heather is doubled over, wasted, ready to throw up. And then and she looks at her and goes, "What is she saying?" And she said, what did she say? Not deplorable. She said, perpetrator or
a predator or
predator.
Yes.
Yeah, but she says it like predator. She's just about to throw up. But we can recall that one detail. And then she winds up throwing up in the bus, and that poor driver of the bus is like, "Oh my God, just get me out of here."
It's so
good, you guys.
Fucking bring it. They always, and they're all just stupid. They argue about the stupidest shit. Meredith's like, I'm mad because Whitney gave an interview where she insinuated that I have a dirty tub or something. It's like, you don't come for my family. You don't come for my tub. Shut the fuck up, Meredith. It's so stupid. It's such a stupid fight.
And she's mad at Angie because she didn't invite Angie to come along. And Angie does herself no favors by being completely charmless. But Meredith drunkenly gets up and says to the waiter, I want this woman to leave this table.
You can leave.
He's looking at her like, what?
They are all...
I'm not a bouncer. It's a restaurant. A 5-star restaurant, by the way.
They're all batshit. All of them. And... They make for great housewives. And then I also caught up on Real Housewives of New York. And it's always good when they send them on vacation. And there's a whole thing about... So Jenna gets dental surgery. So she's had surgery on her fucking jaw and face. And like, she's having all this stuff done. And then she also has like a skin disorder where she's like discolored, so she wants to like fly down for their trip early so she could get a tan. And then she says, also, I didn't want to fly coach.
And she's 6 feet tall, by the way, and super wealthy. So, yeah,
and
I get it.
That bitch Erin, who's the fucking worst, like can't even wait to it was like a smoke cloud of Erin, like after she said it, like meep, like runs off to tell the women that Jenna won't fly with them because she doesn't want to fly coach. And I was like, you're just jealous. You don't want to fly coach either. Like, shut up. And everyone gets on Jenna's case. And I was like, first of all, again, 6 feet tall. She's rich. She just had dental surgery. Why should she fly coach if she doesn't have to?
And she wanted to go like a day or two before.
Yes.
And she's kind of an introvert. So it's like, there's just a lot of grace that could have been had here, but that's not what we get.
They're all,
Housewives for.
And again, they're all just so bitchy. And like, Erin like takes Uba's phone, and then Uba gets mad that she had her phone for like a whole hour or something. It's, again, all the fights are so dumb. So dumb. I love it so much.
And Below Deck Down Under season 2 ended. It was great. If you're looking for a binge, season 2, Below Deck Down Under, everything happens. It's just got so much going on.
This show has everything.
Everything. Exactly. Like Stefan. It's Australia. It's got animals. It's got everything. A great cast. Beautiful location.
Yes. But it has this like chef's kiss moment where, so one of the deckhands, Culver, was like flirting really hard with the chef early in the season. Then they get a new like, what do they call them? Stewards.
Stew. She's a stew.
Yeah, and she's adorable. Everybody drink. And he immediately drops the chef to like hook up with her. And then they get another deckhand, and that deckhand, he's hot.
He's fucking hot. And then she's mad because she lost her chance with him because she's stooping Culver, who's so cheap he won't pick up the crew meals.
Oh,
like
my
everyone's
God.
supposed to take turns. And then the second or third night they're together, he takes her down to the bilge in the basement to fuck her because there's no cameras down there. Like, he doesn't take her to a room. I know. He's so gross, but she's so like, I should have picked the other guy.
Yeah. Well,
like,
so then she kisses the other guy, and Culver's like immediately like calls his mom because he's such a fucking mama's boy. And then he forgives her or whatever. But I was also like, oh, does that hurt, Culver? Oh, poor baby. You did the same thing to Sheffy. And then there's this whole thing with like Chef and Joel. Is that how you pronounce his name?
Joel, yeah.
Yeah. And they seem to like really be hitting it off. And then you're watching these two people like sabotage something that actually could be something. It was kind of sad to watch.
And he's apparently they made up and they hung out after the show.
Oh, okay.
But then he went right back to his old ways, basically.
Oh, that's too bad.
So she thinks a lot of it was for the cameras, like trying to rehabilitate his image. That
makes me sad.
It makes me sad because I like Sheffy a lot.
Yeah, and
she was relatable.
I did not watch the other show that he was on, and I was like, they seemed to have a really good like rapport and chemistry, and like they were having so much fun together. And then they like hooked up, and then from then on, it was just watching these two people like sabotage it, and it was like it just totally bummed me out. I was like, but the captain and Aisha are like the cutest things I've ever seen.
And they had a great relationship. He's a great captain.
He's such a great captain.
Really good leader.
Yeah.
And some of the guests are great. Some of the guests are assholes. It always just works out either way.
The show delivers. It
delivers like dominoes, y'all.
Entertaining. So entertaining. Good season.
Yeah, it was a really good season. Even though we told you everything, you're still gonna love it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's so much more that we didn't even get into. Did you watch the second season of A Southern Scandal on Netflix?
The Murdoch family?
Yeah.
Of course I did.
Yeah.
I did the other night after Peggy Sue got married.
Yeah,
and,
me too.
That guy is a piece of shit.
Such a piece of shit. Did it need to be 3 episodes long? No, it did not. But there's some good stuff in there.
The body cams that the police have with the technology we have now. I was thinking about, like, could you imagine, like, the crimes that could have been solved if they just had this kind of technology back in the day? But they're there when he's just showing up and lying through his teeth about everything, and it's clear as a bell. I felt so bad. I mean, when you hear the son and the mother, and the son was an asshole. Yeah. But he killed people in a boating accident, and he's messed up. But him and his mother at the dog cages, when you hear the dad's voice, and he said he wasn't there, and then you hear him calling them out, you're like, oh shit! Like, that's when he did it. There's a whole thing about, like, he's like, I wasn't there, I haven't seen them since dinner, and then they find this video that the son had taken. Snapchat. Yeah, had sent to, like, a friend because he was, like, dog sitting, and you can hear the dad, he was there, and it's like 2 minutes before he did it. And the way they talk about it in the documentary, about how, like, what the courtroom was like before that and what it was like after that, and how, like, he would come doomed. Yeah, he was doomed. He was fucked after that, and as he should be, because he's pretty fucking guilty. Like, yeah. It's real good. And then just the stuff with there's also a thing about, like, they have an auction of all their stuff, and they interview someone who's, like, a Murdaugh enthusiast, and I was like, this felt icky. The one who had the vacuum? Yes, it felt icky. And she's like, there's all this, and then she had the digital cameras. Yeah, she bought their camera. Yes. Ugh. It's really, really gross. But I'm kind of glad they included it, because I think it's important that, I don't know, we talk about stuff like that, and it's very icky. And this is coming from someone who literally just watched season 2 about their family. And I'm like, but I don't want to be that. I am not going down and buying a vacuum cleaner from their auction. But the stuff with the house cleaner person, and how she has taken on the wife's dog. Yeah. I was like, oh, ow. Like, yeah. It's some really sad stuff in here. I saw her tombstone, and she was born in 1968. I was like, oh my God, they were all so young. All so young. And he just, like, that was his option? Like, that's what he thought was going to, I mean, and that's just I just don't awful. Get why. He owed a lot of money. And I think and that's why there's the theory that there's somebody else involved with him. And that could make some sense. Yeah. It's good. It's, again, it didn't need to be, it's like 3 episodes, and they're each like 35 minutes or something. They could have put these things all together and released one feature length thing, but that's not how Netflix likes to do it. They like to drag their shit out. Yeah. So it was worth it. I watched it immediately. But now that I know Supermodels is out, I know what I'm doing tonight. Yep. That's my plan. Is there anything else we want to put on the list? I think that's plenty. This is plenty. My friend, tell people where they can find you on the internet. Well, Twitter exists at Brooklyn Margot. I'm at Brooklyn Fit Chick on Threads and on Instagram. My site is brooklynfitchick.com, and my TikTok is at Brooklyn Margot, Margo. And you can find Dorky and Out Show at dorkyandoutshow.com. I know the website's being a little janky. Something's up with WordPress, but I'm going to figure it out. But you can find our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. If you want to leave us a review,
that would be great. We'd appreciate it, and we'll give you a shout out on the show. You can also find it on Twitter, as long as that's a thing, on Threads, on Facebook, on Instagram. We'll be on Blue Sky if I ever get some invite codes. You can find me at The Sonia Show on all the things. The Twitter, the Facebook, the Instagram, the Threads. I'm on Blue Sky now. Whee! And again, as soon as I get those invite codes, Margot will be on Blue Sky.
Heyo!
And you can also find me on TikTok, where I usually share a lot of clips of what I'm watching. So follow me there. I'm really glad we did this one. This was super, super fun and such a good rewatch.
Grandma.